Hummus is a fairly simple recipe to make and is very healthy. All you need to make a basic hummus are garbanzo beans, also called chickpeas, fresh garlic, lemon juice, tahini, extra virgin olive oil, and salt. There are different variations of making hummus. Today we'll be making roasted red pepper hummus. So one of the healthy foods I like to have around is hummus. So I've asked BFF to come over and show us how to make her hummus recipe because it's honestly the best I've ever had.
Hummus is actually really easy to make, and I'm gonna walk you through my favorite recipe of it.
So today we're making a double batch of hummus, but I'm gonna provide the recipe that we're making today in just the single batch.
So I usually use 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, more often 3 cloves because I like mine pretty garlicky.
So one thing that people may not realize when using a food processor and processing garlic is that you should actually start the processor first before you throw the garlic in. That way you avoid having those big chunks that get stuck at the bottom. So if you have it running first, it just chops it as it comes down and there's no big chunks. So while you're making hummus, you're going to need to take off the lid occasionally to make sure that you scrape off the sides because a lot of it will stick to the sides. So just, throughout the process, just intermediately take off the lid and scrape it down.
And then at this point I add 2 cans of drained chickpeas, rinsed and drained.
This is for the double batch.
So next we add the tahini, and I usually add a good couple dollops of it, and I just use a regular soup spoon. Tahini is actually just pureed sesame seeds, and it's essential for good hummus. If you find yourself looking up a recipe that does not call for tahini, you want to go ahead and move on to the next recipe because I think it's absolutely the most important part of it. So tahini actually lasts quite a long time. Once you open it, you want to keep it in the refrigerator. One tip I have passed on to my BFF is that when I open it, or a lot of other things such as roasted red bell peppers, I put the date on the lid because then there's never any question as to how old it is, if I should throw it away or not. So I just get a black Sharpie and write the date on it, and that I feel is very useful. So after you've added the tahini, you want to go ahead and pulse it for maybe 30 seconds or so till you've mixed it up enough. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're still adding ingredients, but. So the next step is I add my salt, fresh lemon juice, and possibly some water. It just kind of depends on the consistency of the hummus so far.
So I get a lot of questions when people ask about hummus. What is the consistency that you're looking for?
I believe I like my hummus more. I'm trying to think of a good.
I think fluffy. Like yours is fluffier than store-bought.
Smooth. Definitely thicker than peanut butter, but not like ranch dressing.
Yeah.
And as far as the salt, it's, I guess, to taste. Mm-hmm. I tend to add a bit more salt. I like mine salty. But
I add less.
And then pulse again. So we've just pulsed the hummus maybe for another 30 seconds to a minute, and now it's time to add the olive oil. And so can you pull that down? So this is the consistency as of right now. We're not quite there yet.
And how much olive oil, and this is a double batch, keep in mind, but how much olive oil do you think you added? Maybe like a cup?
I would actually say a bit more, maybe a half.
Okay.
It may seem like a lot, but it really isn't. Mm-hmm. And like I said, this is where we're at right now, and I still have some more olive oil to add.
So again, with adding olive oil, just like with garlic, it's better to have the food processor running. So when you pour in the olive oil, it mixes better and it gives you a better consistency and a better end result. So like we said, one of the benefits of making a double batch is that you can just put it in a container and you can freeze it. It freezes really well and thaws out really well, and it tastes like you just made it.
Right before I serve, I usually just add a good drizzle of olive oil on top. And I usually serve it with cucumbers, red bell peppers, carrots. You can do snap peas, grape tomatoes, pita bread, crackers, just kind of whatever your preference is. I even do green onions sometimes.
Going out! He doesn't